Yo, JD here, and as you can see, we are back on F125. And before we even start this video, let me know down in the comments if you notice anything different from what you see here on the screen. Bonus points if anyone does get it correct. But moving to the video itself, and you can see by the title here, hopefully it's not too controversial, but I think it's actually a statement I stand by quite a bit. And this is something a lot of drivers do ask me, is why are they good in time trial, but then they can't really perform that well online? They don't really have much success in online races and in league racing, competitive racing. And that's what we're going to discuss here today. And I think for F125, the thing I love about it most is that I think there is such a big difference between the time trial and playing online Grand Prix mode. It's almost a different skill set. And don't get me wrong, in time trial, drivers who are pushing to the 100% of the limit, throwing everything at the wall and making it stick, that is a serious skill. Something I'm definitely not really in tune with. That's why I wouldn't be able to compete in esports now anyway, even if I devoted my life to it. The drivers who can do that are absolutely incredible. And you can see one of these drivers is this guy called Uniques. And when I'm speaking this video, hopefully they take it respectfully. It's actually a compliment as well. But there's drivers such as him, a Uniques on PlayStation here. He's one of the fastest drivers on the PlayStation platform in the time trial. He's always way up there. And I think this is the case with even a lot of esport drivers and other competitive drivers. You really have to treat the two as something completely separate. And I think it's not only the setup, you will need to adjust quite a bit from the TT to when it comes to online, but also the way you drive as well, I think is very different. And I think factors are things such as the tyre wear, the tyre temperatures, the change of balance of the car throughout the race the entire time. But I think a big thing in this game now, and something you're going to see in this gameplay here, this one that's Zandvoort and then the next one that Silverstone as well, I think these are perfect races to really showcase what I'm talking about, is really factoring the dirty air as well. Because if you have a setup that is only good in the time trial where the conditions are perfect, the grip is perfect, you don't have to worry about tyre wear, tyre temperatures, things like that, or ERS management, it's just you going as fast as you possibly can, that's great. And if you did decide to use a time trial setup online, it's not that it would be slow, especially the qualifying and even maybe at the start of the races. It can still be a good setup. It's definitely better than a preset. But I would say there are much better options when it comes to competitive racing online, because you need to factor in things such as dirty air. But I think the biggest thing is just a constant change of balance of the car. And you can see the way I'm driving here, Uniques, he is faster than me on one lap pace in TT and online as well, but you will just see how much easier it is for me to stay in this dirty air versus when he tries to do the same. So I can follow him really well here. So I still have the dirty air, and obviously I'm trying to pick parts of the track he's not occupying, so I get a little bit more grip as well. But I just have a much better balance. And when the tyre wear kicks in as well, you have to adjust your driving, so you have to anticipate that understeer, the change of balance every single lap. This is something I really encourage a lot of drivers to do, is definitely to do online lobbies, to do 25% races, or at least the first 5 to 10 laps of a 50% race after every quali, just so when the tyres start to drop off, which they will do very quickly in this game, that is absolutely crucial. Because if you're basing a setup and basing your own driving style off when the balance is perfect, you're not going to be maximizing your potential as a driver. And you can see through here, I'm able to stick with him pretty easily, so staying within that 4 to 5 temp window was pretty comfortable for me to do. And again, this is just through practice of me being in the dirty air, so I already know I'm going to have quite a bit more understeer, so I'm really factoring that in, turning in that earlier and less, really changing my inputs, but also the setup as well, which you will be able to have access to. So if you click that join button, you will be able to use this setup, the one I'm using right here, which I've actually just updated today. But all the setups I put on my Discord, and if you become a member, they are all tailored towards league racing, competitive racing, online lobbies such as this, where it's not about having the fastest setup of one lap, because in time trial, even though it's not my speciality, mainly because of the driving style, but yes, I could actually change my setup to probably be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more pointy, where it will give me more potential performance. And not saying I would be able to gain half a second or anything like that, but I would probably be able to gain probably a tenth to maybe 2 tenths on average by most tracks. But the way I like to have my car is always to have the best balance for the race itself, to give me the best average lap time, because even though the setup might not have the outright raw performance, if it's giving me the best balance between oversteer, understeer, when the tyres are going off, the different tyre compounds, it's good in dirty air, it's good in ERS management, tyre temperatures, tyre wear, if it gives me all those things, I'm going to be so much faster overall. And that is what is probably going to be winning me quite a few races. So that's the way I do it. And you can see here now, when I've actually taken over the lead here, Uniques is finding it very difficult to stay in this dirty air. And again, it's not just the dirty air, it's the tyre wear, tyre temperatures, all these other things as well. And this is something I really encourage you. And yeah, try and give people encouragement who, if you might not be up there in the time trial on the raw pace, it's the same for me as well. If you're just a very smooth driver, but you're not doing this flicking technique, this aggressive technique, that will benefit you in the TT and online. But also, I think it is your driving style and the setup approach that does need to change quite a bit. Because if you run a really low downforce setup on this game online, which is something I actually did on last year's game, but you can see here now, look, he can't even get within half a second of me here. So with that dirty air, whereas when I was behind him, I was able to really comfortably do that. And with the dirty air being so powerful in this game, I think it is absolutely crucial that you go for the best balance possible in the race itself. So this was a pretty good example of that right here. When we move over to Silverstone in a second, I think that is also another really, really good example. There's certain corners such as Cops, where you'll see he suffers a lot in the dirty air, whereas we are not really suffering anywhere near as much. So this is a one-shot quali again, and just to showcase. And again, if I change my setup to really give myself the maximum performance, it's down to driving style as well. I'd probably gain maybe 1 or 2 attempts max. So again, wouldn't be gaining so much because of my driving style, but in the race, when the balance really kicks in and the loss of balance really kicks in, that's where I will be really, really suffering. And I recorded quite a few races recently, in the past day or so, where I'm going against drivers such as Uniques and other really fast drivers who are beating me in the qualifying, but then when it comes to the race, that 4 or 5 of the race, the balance is just completely night and day difference. And with the dirty air, there's nothing really anyone can do in that scenario, and it's a lot easier for me to overtake than it is for them to overtake. And now this lap here was pretty steady, a little bit more time in it, but again with the balance I'm thinking more about, the qualifying is just a 90-second lap most of the time. When you're doing a league race, that's about 40 minutes if you're doing like a 50% race. Of course, you don't want to sacrifice the raw pace too much, because I don't want to be half a second to a second down by focusing on the race, but usually the best race setup will give you still a reasonable quality setup as well. So again, click that join button, you'll get access to all of my setups, which I've been updating quite regularly. I think Zandvoort in Austria I've actually updated 2 days in a row, because I'm constantly finding new things now. And plus, you'll get to join lobbies like this, and you can speak to me directly if you do have any questions as well. So you can see the difference between us and qualifying wasn't that much at all, because Silverstone and Zandvoort, they're pretty good tracks for me. But I think you will see, especially in this race, where the dirty air effect, how much more it affects him and other drivers versus how it affects me. And again, that is down, a lot of that is down to the setup, the way I have set the car, and a lot of people have been using the setup, having a lot of success with it as well. So you will see that here. So I think we get out ahead of him going to here. And you'll see for the Magnus and Beckett section, I think he just has so much dirty air. So if we go through here, it's completely flat out for me. In clean air, it's quite an easy flat out. And you can see, look at the lack of downforce. He already had to back off quite a bit going through there. Yet when I'm behind cars, I can actually go still completely flat out and go through there. So in a Ligo scenario where the fuel's going to be in heaven, and you can even see through here as well how much time he has actually lost in that dirty air versus in a lap or two time when he goes out ahead of me. You'll see there's quite a big difference in how much easier it is for me to stick with him, and even through here as well. And it just makes my life so much easier. So when you're in a car in the front and you've got this better balance, the setup is going to be basically improving throughout the race rather than regressing, and you're able to push to the limits without the car really stepping out on you. Even though it might not have as much performance potential, if it allows you to push to the limits of the fundamentals, you're just going to get so much more pace out of yourself and so much more consistency as well. But again, I will probably be making some separate videos on the specifics of actually what I mean in terms of the setups and what you actually do need to change from the time trial to the race, in my opinion, to give you the best overall balance. And then I'll probably be making another video on the key things in terms of your actual driving, the fundamentals that I think you actually need to change quite a bit, because in this game, again, when the tires go off, the balance changes, you constantly have to adapt all the time, and that's something I think it's one of my strengths. And you can just see going through there, going through cops, he went completely out wide there, so he couldn't even go flat out and he still went out wide. And you'll see through this section, let's see how far he is behind me. You can see he's lost quite a bit of time again. And if I wanted to use the ERS to defend, it'd be quite easy for me. So if you have the raw pace and you have a balance like this, it's going to be so much easier for you to keep cars behind. You can see again through there. Plus they're going to have to be working so much harder. They're going to be ruining their tyres. You're able to save the ERS. You can see, well, look, we're still on 80% of ERS as well. So we're not even really pushing that hard right now. But I think this is a lap where I decide to let him go. Because ideally, with this kind of scenario, I'm going to be quite comfortable leading into the last lap. So I don't mind letting him get past me here, and then I'll be overtaking him maybe on the penultimate lap or something. Ideally trying to be in the lead going into the last lap, because I felt with the ERS and the pace, should be able to do it. So now here you can see we're just going to let him go, not really pushing that hard at all, and let's see what effect we have. So initially I could feel the dirty air absolutely straight away. As you can see, the car's really washing out wide, but you can see he's actually lost the car, and we still get a pretty good exit. But going through cops, most cars cannot go flat out when they're behind someone else. Let's see what we do now. So keeping it in the medium ERS, and yeah, we were running wide, but we can still keep it flat, and we're still able to really stick to the car up ahead as well. So let's see how we do from this Magnus and Beckett. So he lost loads of time through there, and you can see we've barely lost any time. If I was deploying the battery here, I could have a pretty good attempt at actually overtaking, go down again. So you can see we're still saving quite a lot of the battery. Going through here, when you're directly right behind the car, you will get a lot of understeer, so always look for those gaps. Ideally almost taking a different line to the car ahead of you as we really go over the sausage curve to get really caught out there. So having to use a bit of battery just to get back within it again. And I think, yeah, you'll see on this lap quite a few more examples of when we're in this dirty air, how much more of a better balance we have. So you can see going through here, just spotting that space, so not trying to follow him directly. You see I'm just very slightly just trying to use a slightly different line, half a car length's width, different line to the car ahead. That's going to allow me to still have some rotation and some downforce. But again, this setup here in the TT would not be the fastest setup. I could use another one that's going better, and you can see again using the pockets of space here, but this gives me by far the best balance. It allows me to follow the car ahead of me the closest while still having good performance. So let's see how we do going through cops this time. Completely flat medium, and yeah, you just see how easy that is. You'll be able to see it again through Magnus and Beckett. So completely flat out through here, take a little bit off through here, and you can see I think we even got a little bit of a better exit through there as well. So yeah, the balance, if I was running like a typical TT setup, like an esport driver setup, or a faster setup that would give me a little bit more performance. The dirty air is absolutely horrendous, and it's not just the dirty air. When I mean clean air, when the tires go off, the balance just shifts so much, so then you just get so much understeer or so much oversteer, and it just makes it impossible to be consistent, and you can very, very easily lose the car. So I will be doing some specific videos on that as well. So moving to last lap, ideally I wanted to be in the lead, so I tried to get him down the hangar straight, but I didn't actually use any ERS. So you can see just getting some really good traction here, but with this balance I felt very confident that I could probably stay quite close going to Magnus Beckett's. But ideally if I can overtake him before, so overtake him here, get into the lead when going in to this next section, because I know the dirty air, he's going to be suffering a lot more than what I will be. So getting a really good exit off here, and let's see how he deals with Cops this time and Maggots and Beckett's. And again, Unique's, he's a very good driver. This is not to be disrespectful to drivers like this. They're very, very good, better than me in raw pace. But I think you just need to think about changing your setup approach, your driving approach, and let's see what happens through here. So Maggots and Beckett's, you actually get a pretty poor run going through here. And you can see, look at how much understeer he's got. He's actually had to resort going off track completely, whereas for me, it's completely different to that. So going towards the end of a hangar straight, we get this done pretty nicely, and you can see again he is nowhere near us going into this last chicane. So these are just some things that I think you should consider. TT is a good tool to build a baseline, to get used to a track, to build some reference points, but I think if you want to be the best driver you can competitive wise and online, you really need to be doing your practice online in Grand Prix mode and really tuning your setups for online as well. So I've done a setup explanation video. I will be making a separate video on what I would actually recommend changing in your setup, going from like a TT to a league racing scenario or an online scenario. I've uploaded all of my setups in my members Discord, so if you click that join button, follow the steps, you will get access to all of the setups I use online, get to speak to me directly, and a discount on one-to-one coaching. Thank you so much, and I will catch you very, very soon. Peace.